piece. We're going to talk about different ways of controlling your compressor, stop, start, variable speed, constant speed, an unloading device. Most of you are familiar with the stop, start, start, stop. You guys have a compressor at home? Okay, you have a compressor at home?
Yeah.
It gets up the pressure, it gets a certain pressure, shuts off.
Cuts out.
Waits it open. Great system. A couple of downfalls with it. If you have a constant demand, heavy demand, it's on and off all the time, so it's very expensive. And also, for some unknown reason, you undersize the receiver, you won't have enough capacity, so it'll be on and off a lot as well. So that's a couple of things about that. Anti-surge, we'll talk about that. And dynamic compressors, a surge is when the air pressure, actually, you're not putting enough air pressure out to overcome the air pressure in the system, and it pushes back. So anti-surge, we're going to talk about water coolers, air coolers, intercoolers, aftercoolers. We talked about that last week, so it shouldn't take too long to go through that. Arrangement, parameters, describe the components. Dryers, we're going to talk about them because there is nothing much into that oil. Let's just look at that. But moisture and control air is terrible. It's horrendous. I've had boilers go down because of moisture, especially in this climate. You know, so it's somebody's working upstairs in the penthouse and it's, you know, 45 degrees Celsius, and so they open a window to cool themselves off while they're working, and they forget to flip and close the window, and or they leave it open and crack, and that cold air keeps coming in on your control lines and your copper, and if there's moisture in there, it'll actually freeze the line. Air can't go through, and because control air is operated at really low pressures, sometimes it can, especially if you're talking about an airflow switch, man, it can cause havoc. So you want to make sure they're very clean. So we'll talk about control. Obviously, we want to have control over our compressor. It can't just run constantly and go. We have to be able to control it. So stop, start, as we said before, is the most common. As the name implies, the compressor would start when you need air and stop when you're off. What's we done on a pressure switch? Once it gets up to, let's grab 100 psi, goes up to 100 psi, the pressure's been reached, and shut the compressor down. Drops down to 60 psi, says, hey, we're running out of air, and back and forth, stop and start. So, very common. All our little compressors at home probably have that. Two conditions that make a start-stop control exceedingly uneconomical. That's Dutch for expensive. Is it when there's almost a continuous demand of air. So if you have a continuous demand for air, you don't really want to use the stop-start because it's on and off all the time. It's quite the wear on it.
And every time the motor starts, the street band.
Correct. Exactly. It's exactly what it is. So you're going to take a heck of a lot of dollars out of your pocket, so you come without. And the same thing goes that if you have too small of a receiver, so you get a little weak tank on this thing, it doesn't hold enough volume. So as soon as you fill up your tire, the pig tank's empty, so you gotta. You definitely don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that it's the power consumption is, as you said, 3 times as much during the startup. So you want to be careful with that. All right. This type of control is used mostly for utility air systems where the load demand is generally steady but low, but may be reduced for long periods of time, such as days, nights. So control air on a small plant that's only running 8 hours, 12 hours a day. You don't have to worry too much about it because in the evening you don't need control air, so it's good for stuff like that. Small reciprocating compressors or sliding bed compressors are usually used this. Sliding bed compressor. The sliding bed compressor starting torque is small in comparison to full load torque, which is nice for a stop start. If you have a compressor, you'll have a reciprocating compressors. You're probably going to have unloaders on them. When your compressor shuts down, you hear this. Yeah, that's unloading the cylinder so that when it starts back up. Yeah, you guys all know that. That's review, so I won't have to go through that. I won't. Variable speed control is exactly what it sounds like. Usually if you use a steam engine or a turbine, an internal combustion engine, if you're going to use a electric variable frequency drive on it to control the speed. So as you need more air, speed ramps up. As you need less, the speed goes down. With a variable speed controller, you have to be careful of anti-surging as well, so you might get some surge in that. So we'll talk about that later in the chapter. So variable speed can be used with a rotary compressor or a dynamic compressor. The disadvantage of using this control with dynamic compressors, if the compressor speed reduces too much, the compressor will go into a surge condition, right? So if we're not turning that quick enough to overcome the pressure of the line, we could actually get that surging back in.
Surgeons like back flooded.
Right on.
Pressure.
That's exactly what it is. So you can see that if we're not turning the fan quick enough, if we have an electric fan, we're blowing, it's a nice day, it's hot outside, so we have this fan blowing on us. It's blowing air to this fan, but then all of a sudden, we have a gust of wind that goes this way into the fan. That would actually stop the air from coming this way, correct? Yeah. Same idea with the compression, the surge of air that goes back into it. So, very good.
What about hunting?
Hunting
relates to compressor.
Hunting is a little different. So we'll go through that as we get to that. That's a little different. It's where it will actually, surging is when the air comes back. Hunting is when we're actually looking for the pressure and it overshoots, it comes back, overshoots, it comes back, overshoots, it comes back. So it's surging, it's hunting for the right pressure. So it's a little different, but
when you say right pressure, I mean pressure in which the compressor is set to cut off.
correct. To run at, because it's a constant speed or a variable speed. So if I have my variable speed set up and I want to maintain a pressure of 100 psi, and we're going like this, and all of a sudden somebody starts up the load and it draws some of the pressure out of my tank, and then that thing, the compressor is going to speed up to try to get that.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they shut off whatever they've done, and now the speed is actually, the pressure has gone past, so now we're cutting it back, so the compressor cuts back, but then it goes too far below that, and then it comes back. So that's what it's hunting for the right.
Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
Good. That's kind of a basic way of explaining, but that's what it is. Constant speed, this method of compressor drive usually is electric motor run with a constant speed all the time. Constantly running, that's why they call it a constant speed. They had to put that in there in case you didn't know what constant speed was. Right? So this type of control is used on both positive displacement and dynamic compressors. Due to the various methods of controlling air compressor loads at constant speed, this topic will be divided into 3 sections. Perfect. Reciprocating compressors, rotary and dynamic. So now we're going into constant speed. So reciprocating compressor, constant speed. Best method to control the load for reciprocating compressors are inlet unloader, suction line unloader valve, or inlet air modulating valve. All right, so I'm pretty sure we're familiar with an inlet air unloader. Did that in 4th class. The method of unloading frequently used to reciprocate is an unloader holding the compression inlet valve in the open position. That's what they call it, an unloader. And they have a beautiful picture one right here. Isn't that a pretty picture? It's a beautiful picture. Come on. So this is the cool part. Wait a second. Oh, they do. All right. So I'm going to talk you through this because you can read all this, but I'll talk you through this. So I've got this hooked up to my air receiver. All right. 100 psi is what I want because I just like 100 as a number because it's easy to work with, right? So I want 100 psi. My receiver starts to go above 100 psi. Just starts to work above. You can see where the pressure will now overcome the tension of the spring and will allow air to go out through this inlet valve. Got that so far? Positive? All right.
Hold on.
Wait a second. I just asked you if you got it, and you nodded your head and then said, hold on.
So 1/4 of the time is coming to that top.
This one is connected to the receiver. This one is connected that valve, right here. All right, so there's a tube that runs from there to that other valve. So once the receiver goes to 100 psi, it starts to put enough pressure to open that little control valve. The spring goes open, and I start to put air pressure on my diaphragm. That overcomes this spring here, pushes up on the fingers, opens up the inlet valve. See how nice and simple that is? It's a really nice, simple system. I don't have to have secondary power. The air pressure from my receiver opens and unloads. It's just wonderful. So that's probably the most common I've seen. Now they do have electronic ones that do this as well. We'll get into that, but that one's nice and simple. That's the way we grew up with it. That doesn't mean I'm old, just in case you're wondering that. So you can read that step by step, and that's exactly what it'll tell you when it reaches the pressure, opens up that inlet valve, allows air to go to that diaphragm. That diaphragm has fingers that open up on my intake valve. So now my piston just goes up and down, compresses nothing, and less power consumption because all I have to do is overcome friction. Yeah, it's not compressing anything, tickety-boo. And then when the pressure starts to go down, the pressure is relieved on the diaphragm, spring overcomes the diaphragm pressure. So that starts to Sorry?
I didn't mean it was start.
No, that's how it runs consistently, all the time. The unload, you're talking about an unloader for startup. Understand that it's a little, same theory, a little bit different. There's actually a solenoid valve on this line that will push pressure in and put it up, but yes. So all the time, these will work. So my compressor runs at the same speed, nonstop, every day, on and always at 1750. Let's say that's a revolution. It's running at 1750 all the time. The only difference is sometimes that valve will be operating, sometimes we'll manually hold it open so it won't do anything with it. Piston will go back and forth. Got it? Yeah. Yes? Ken, got it?
Yeah.
All you people at home got it?
Yes, Uncle Bob.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you don't get that. We probably didn't have the Uncle Bobby show if you did that. Oh, man. Ken grew up on Uncle Bobby. So a suction line unloading valve, shown in figure 3, is inserted into the intake valve and shuts off the air from the inlet valve. When the pressure in the receiver rises above a predetermined point, the small piston is actuated by the pressure in the receiver, which is good, against the resistance of the spring. When the pressure in the receiver becomes too high, the piston is moved sufficiently to open a small port, emitting air into the plunger valve. On the larger area, this plunger valve is forced down the liquid. So, here we go again. This is actually on the inside. So this is coming from my filter to my compressor. Looks a lot like a globe valve, doesn't it? It's exactly like one. Oh, excuse me, sorry, still got rid of this cold. So what's going to happen is when my pressure from my airline from my receiver comes in here, as soon as it reaches a predetermined pressure, 100 psi again, because I really like that number. At 100 psi, air is going to come into my air passage, and all of a sudden it's going to push this closed, wham, and now there's going to be no air getting to my inlet valve of my compressor. So again, the compressor is going to be going back and forth, around and round, and no air is going to get in, because we shut the valve, we shut the valve off to the inlet of the compressor.
So this is not that is in the closed position.
This is normally an open position.
As
it is right now, it's in the closed one, yes. When this pressure decreases, spring pressure overcomes the set pressure in my tank, pushes this open, just like a globe valve. We pull the globe back off. Now the air can go to my inlet valve, and we have compression all over again.
Okay, so you're just shutting out the air to the compressor.
You're shutting off the air to the compressor. That's exactly what you're doing. Only instead of you and me standing there going like 100 psi, close the valve. Okay, 60, close the valve. It does it automatically for you. Got it?
and the motor is running continuously.
Constant speed all the time. There are several advantages to this type of unloader. Advantages, that's a good thing. The suction unloader valve is closed, the power consumption is minimal. We're not drawing in any air. Kind of cool. The only power required is needed to overcome friction of the machine. Same idea as our unloader. All we're doing is over. This system can be used where the compressor load changes frequently as the air receiver pressure directly controls it. So if we want to change the pressure in our tank, you can see up there we've got an adjustment. We can actually change that to overcome that. The operating range can be easily changed or adjusted by the adjustment nut. We're not talking about the operator here. We're talking about the adjusting nut right here. We can adjust the amount of air that goes in there and open and close, which is cool. And the compressor suction valve can be changed more quickly as there is no unloader to remove before repairing it. So this is actually in the line. The challenge with our unloader back here, so that goes right on top of our suction valve. Here's our inlet valve right here. So if I have any problem with the inlet valve, I have to take all of this off to get to it. That's what we're talking about. If I have problems with suction line unloader valve, you can see that it's either screwed or flanged, it's connected in the line. My valve has a problem, it's no big deal because it's over here, in between the filter and the compressor. All right? Got those two? Say yes.
Yes.
Good. Only say yes though if you actually mean it. One method of unloading a compressor often used in cases of mechanically operated suction valve is closing the valve so no air can be taken into the cylinder. This is shown in figure 4. When both valves are closed, there's a slight compression at each end, but no work is done. The challenge with this here is that you're closing the valves at both ends. So this is, so we're compressing it at both ends. So even though we're closing those valves, we're going to have some compression taking place at each end. And as you know, as we compress air, we start to heat it up. So then we got to worry about the heat. So they don't talk a lot about these kind of. The advantage of this type is that the control range can vary from 0 to 100%. We can close it. It's done through a control system. It's energy efficient. The disadvantage is that it'll overheat. Because even though we're only doing slight compression, you're still going to get compression at each end of the dead cylinder. Remember we talked about you guys tried to draw my 3-cylinder compressor, and even though we're compressing against the dead end, it's still going to heat up. It's still going to compress. So, and this one here is another challenge is the control strategy. So it can be very complex. You may be using a PID to do it. The other one's nice and simple. You take the pressure off the receiver, and that's what does it, right? All right. So now we're rotary compressor controls, stop, start, stop, load, unload, modulating air inlet, and microprocessor-based control system. These ones here you'll talk about more probably with Lori. Stop, start on a sliding vane compressor is similar to start, stop on reciprocating. Same idea. All right, pressure goes down, compressor starts, pressure goes up where your set point is, it stops. Herbert, you're yawning.
Sleep.
Herbert, we're only like 9 pages into 38 and you're already sleeping. This really hurts. I'm telling. The load and unload control, so, let's see if I highlighted this, so I might as well read it. The operation of the valve is effective by high pressure air, which is controlled by a pilot valve. Sound familiar? Same idea, pilot valve with the reciprocating. The pilot valve is fitted with a spring against which the pressure has to operate. When the delivery pressure exceeds the required setting, the pilot valve opens and admits air to the top of the piston. The piston moves downward to its seats, thus shutting off the suction of the compressor from atmosphere. Does that sound familiar at all? Does that look familiar at all? Same idea. Any questions? Notice this though, afterwards notice this. So air inlet, outlet on the suction. So we're going to open and close this the same as we did with the reciprocating compressor. Same theory, same idea. The difference is that this one here is going to have a handle so that you can manually override that when you're building it up, the pressure. All right? You're going to manually be able to do that. See, with a reciprocating compressor, it's not quite as, they're unloading it, you get that thing going and away you go. To start up on a sliding vane or one of the other rotary type compressors, you're going to have a bit more of a challenge with it. So you will notice there is a handle on the pilot valve diagram labeled handle. Just in case you didn't know, there's a handle there labeled labeled as a handle. Start position, this is used to start the compressor in an unloaded position and to unload the compressor to shut it down. So just a manual override of it basically. All right. Other than that, very, very similar. Modulating inlet valve. This is real cool. We're going to need a pressure transmitter on it. This one we use quite often in power plants that I've worked. This method allows the compressor capacity to be adjusted to match the load demand. This arrangement is 6. The pressure transmitter senses the discharge pressure. It sends a signal to a regulating valve controller, the controller positioner, and the inlet valve to the compressor. Closing the inlet valve, reducing the mass flow to the air compressor, and so on and so forth. So we got a pressure transmitter. Transmitter goes through a cold box, goes to a driver, and opens and closes my valve accordingly to see how much air I need. Cruise control for compressors. Yeah. Basically, we set it, and as long as our control circuit is set up, she's a good deal. All right? So there's a positioner in there that'll move that. You're going to find the same kind of things in a lot of our same basic controls, pressure transmitter, in a lot of our equipment. Nice, good system. I like it. Microprocessor based. Those of you who know that I am such a geekosaurus know that I know enough about these things to stand back and let someone who is very much more educated than I am play with computers. But anyways, same idea, only we'll have a program that will do that rather than strictly a pressure control. Same basic concept, only it's done through microprocessing. A lot quicker too, right? It's like that as opposed to we get a pressure control that sends a signal to an analog system that sends it to a driver that opens and closes. So there's that delay. So microprocessor is definitely the way things go. Dynamic compressor controls. We've talked about a dynamic compressor. The method in inlet vane control. This method uses a smaller size dynamic air compressor. The inlet vanes are controlled by a signal from the air receiver. The disadvantage with this type of control is that if the load demand is reduced significantly, the compressor can go into surge. So when we're talking about dynamic compressors, we always have to worry about surge. All right. So when we're controlling the inlet control, my compressor is just going away around, and then all of a sudden I get a quick reduction in load. It's going to close my inlet. The compressor now is not going to put out enough pressure. The pressure that's in downstream will surge back. You understand how that works? Perfect. Electro-pneumatic control system. Most air compressors used today utilize electromagnetic control system. These compressors feature electric and mechanically controlled devices such as pressure switches and solenoids. They adjust the loading and unloading through the use of an inlet valve or bypass valve. These systems typically rely on a mechanical pressure switch to monitor the compression discharge. In addition, electropneumatic systems typically feature a series of mechanical trim switches that will pick the picture later on down. And microprocessor is basically that, only using electronics. All right. Surging is a reversal of flow within the compressor. And we already talked about that. Surging occurs when the flow through the compressor drops to a point where the pressure being generated is not sufficient to maintain the flow. We discussed that. We're pretty up on that. We don't have to worry about that. Surging, this is good. I like it. Severe surging must be avoided. All right, it's not something we like. Throttling the inlet valve or reducing the compressor speed will reduce surging. Preferably, the load is prevented from dropping below the surge point. That's the most common and the best. The most common surge control is an automatic venting of discharge line to the atmosphere using a flow meter to control the bypass valve in case the value or toxic gases to bypass have to go to the compressor inlet. So they say all that to say there's a flow meter on my airline. As long as my flow is going this way, everything's tickety-boo. As soon as the flow starts to drop, just before I get a surge back, it opens a vent line and makes that surge back go out, so it doesn't come back on my compressor. If it's a toxic gas, it takes that surge line and instead of the atmosphere, it takes it over to the inlet side. All right, got that?
Yes. Okay.
Pretty.
In terms of throttling the inlet valve.
In terms of what? Sorry.
Throttling the inlet valve.
Throttling the inlet valve.
Or reducing the compressor speed. Practically, all of the
So, here's my compressor. Here's my inlet. Here's my outlet. So it's a dynamic compressor, so it's like a the dynamic is either a fan like a like a turbine or rotary is different than dynamic. Dynamic is like a centrifugal pump, a compressor, or an axial flow compressor where it's actually fans or blades that are pushing the air, rather than a rotary could be a rotary vane where it's actually a positive displacement compressor. So a little different, but this is my inlet's coming in here and my flow is going out this way. All right. So I can control how much air this puts out by either changing the speed of this rotation. So I slow it down if I need less air, I speed it up if I need more.
Okay, so if you have a surge coming back, you speed up that overcome it.
Won't be quick enough. So if I have a surge coming, so I'm measuring this flow right here. So if this flow is moving this way, I'm a happy guy. Yeah. As soon as this flow slows to a rate that I pick, whatever that is, as soon as that goes, instead of slowing to a point where the air will start coming back on that and I'll create a surge, I will actually have a vent line that as soon as that flow gets too low, this vent line will open, so I will create this, and I won't get the surge back.
I understand the vent line.
Okay. So once this flow drops to a certain rate, as long as my pressure isn't exceeded, this will just speed up this. The speed of this will be based on my receiver, right? It will be based on the total PSI. It will be based on the speed of the pressure that I want. Okay. It's not going to be based on
the speed of the compressor is relative to what's in the receiver.
Correct.
So, and then the reduction and surging is what released from the receiver.
Released from the flow right here, just before between the compressor and the receiver. Between the compressor and the receiver. And if it's toxic, it'll just bring it back in here. So that it doesn't release its atmosphere. If you're compressing ammonia, you don't want an ammonia leak, right? And they really get upset at you when you do that. There's paperwork to fill out. You know what that's like. You know what paperwork. Paperwork, that's terrible, all right? So that's what that discharge line blow off is all about. Another method is to recirculate valves, so an anti-surging valve, so it'll just automatically, the pressure will continue to do that. The challenge with that is you could overheat that compressor and keep circulating just like you could with a centrifugal pump if it just kept going around and around, right? Same idea would happen.
So it is from the friction?
From friction and the compression of air. Keep expanding, right? So the latest technology uses anti-surge control for centrifugal and axial compressors, involves microprocessors. The entire compressor control scheme, sure. Discharge control, anti-surge control, and startup control is implemented in an integrated system. These systems respond much quicker to process changes than the older systems. So it's like crazy. So the challenge that we have a surge here. So usually the reason we got a surge is the delay from here to here, because this one wouldn't speed up quick enough. That's usually what happens. With microprocessors, it's like that, right? And that's the cool part about the microprocessor. There's not that lead lag. Yeah. And that's what we're preventing a lot of that. Here's a little picture of an anti-surge system. You can see we got the pressure, we got the discharge, we got the suction. You can see where the line is here. Instead of getting the surge, we'll go back into the suction line. Pressure transmitter, flow transmitter. So they have the flow transmitter, pressure transmitter, surge control limit, level valve.
What if there was a one-way valve?
What if there was a one-way valve?
Yes, in discharge line.
There would be a one-way valve in the discharge line.
So the surge can come up.
Well, the surge will still be able to come back at discharge. We can come back after the check valve, right? So the check valve here, we still got this much anti-surge. We wouldn't have as much. You're absolutely correct. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to visualize it.
Okay.
So let's set up the system and put that check valve, right?
Okay, we're going to put the check valve here. Where are we going to put it? Here?
Yeah, here.
Check valve. Beautiful check valve, isn't it? I even do it the right way.
So
would that prevent surgery? It would minimize surgery on a single stage compressor only. But as soon as you add a multi-stage or intercooler, you still have all that air in between the stages, right? So this is only on the discharge line. What about if this is a 3 or 4 stage compressor? We're using an axial flow here. So we've got pressure in between each one of those. So you're actually going to get surging back from the high end to the low end, right inside the compressor. You see what I mean? So from fan blade to fan blade to fan blade, there's going to be differential surging. So that's why the surging will be right in the compressor. The check valve over here would prevent any surging coming back from the receiver, but it won't do anything from inside the compressor itself from stage to stage. Got it? Yeah. Are you sure? Are you positive?
positive.
You got it?
Yeah.
You guys at home got it? Put your hands up if you know. I guess everybody got it. Sorry. Intercooler and aftercooler. Do I have to go through this, or can you explain to me what an intercooler and an aftercooler is? An intercooler and an aftercooler. Can you tell me what they are?
Well, it's basically it's intercooler. Well, they are heat exchangers, right? So
They're heat exchangers, absolutely.
One cools the air in between stages.
And one cools air after the stages, right? We cool the air for a couple of reasons. One is to remove water vapor and oil vapors from the air, because as we know, the dew point changes with the temperature, and as we compress it, the temperature goes up. All right, so we want to get some of that. We definitely want to take if oil vapor is not condensed and removed, it can be detrimental effects on air operated instruments. It can be havoc on it, because you ever seen a drop of oil? Fairly large drop, right? It's like you can't just get it through a wee little hole. You ever seen some instrumentation equipment? Usually little small orifices. Oil doesn't go through them very good. It plugs them up. So it's really not good for our compressed air at all. So we definitely don't want to have it. Deposits in pipes and reservoirs could ignite and explode. That's not a good thing. We get oil in there, especially if we have oil that has a low flash point, compression, heat, not a good thing. So we got to get rid of that. Water vapor is not removed. It can collect in pipelines, causes water hemorrhage. You can actually get water hammer in airlines, control lines. Don't think you can. You definitely can. And for me, the biggest thing was freezing. The plant was so old. We had single pane windows. The window got a winter storm from the east, and it would come through there. Any control air that was on the east that had moisture was terrible. Intercoolers increase the amount of power requirement to compress the air. Cooling the air during compression will increase the efficiency operation so that the cost is reduced. Why is it going to? Why would it do that? Why would cooling the air during compression increase the efficient operation and that cost reduced? Why would it be better for? What's the advantage of us doing that? Any thoughts? When we compress it, we heat it up, right?
Yeah, so when we heat it up, more expansion of the air, right?
The volume becomes larger.
And that's more work for the company.
And if we cool it back down, we can actually start with a smaller volume compressor some more. Yeah. So it's definitely less work for the compressor. And you'll figure, I'm sure in thermal they'll let you do all the calculations and do that. So it's kind of cool. This is neat. The use of an intercool to cool air between the stages of compression will reduce the power requirement of compression by approximately 15%. That's a lot. For this reason, in addition, using intercoolers, compressors will usually use water jackets to remove some of the heat. So some of the coolers will be, you're going to have water jackets around the head of the compressor and stuff like that. Intercoolers can be either or. They can be, water, they can be air. Most common is air. You ever see those copper tubes wrapped around the compressor? Those would be usually in an intercooler. Other purposes of reducing air temperature by using the cooler are to make the cylinder lubricant more efficient, to reduce weakening of parts by high temperatures, and reduce the possibility of explosion of oil vapors. So we keep it cool, we can reduce all those. Intercoolers may be air cooler or water cooler. Copy it. They are constructed of thin tubes, heat transfer area. All right, I just did that too. You guys remember taking that air compressor in the lab apart, the one that's cut in half? You can see it. Remember that big flywheel that was on it? You notice the fan blades were on it? So not only did it act as a driving pulley, but it also had fans on it, so when it turns by the electric motor, it actually draws the air across the cooling fin to the intercooler. Most compressors are done that way. Pay attention to that. I don't know, Mark. You said Mark is doing that. Oh, you're going to take that next semester. Mm-hmm. Sorry. So here I am telling you about something that you haven't done yet. I apologize. Anyways, when you take it apart, notice that they'll actually.
We did some compressor work in power skills that one.
Okay. Yeah. So you notice then that they had the fan blades on those wheels, so it actually blow the air up. That's what they're talking about right there. So they can be air cooled or they can be water cooled. You look at the big compressor that we have right at the front of the lab, the big blue one at the very front. the double acting compressor. It's actually a water cooled intercooler. So they can be both. This one here shows you a water cooled intercooler. It's got water jackets around the pistons so we can remove the heat. We got water jackets for removing the heat, take the heat out of there. You can actually use that heat, you don't just throw it away, you can actually use it. You see right in here, it's an intercooler, basically a shell and tube, heat exchanger. So the air will go through one side, the water will go through the other.
Wait. So the water is like,
Yes.
so there's a channel cool water.
It's just a channel around the cylinder head that'll actually, and around the cylinder and the head that'll actually put water flow through it to cool the head. This one here, bunch of pipes in the middle, shell and tube. So the air is going around the outside. Through these pipes, you'd actually be flow of water. Whether you're reusing that heat, cooling it down, somewhere you want to get rid of that heat and bring it back in as cooler water so it can remove more heat. Got it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. I'm glad you did that. Drains must be provided on the intercooler so the water that condenses when heated compressed air is cooled can be removed. So on your intercoolers, you're always going to have a drain because as we take that hot air in between the two stages, whatever there is, and we cool it, water is going to form. We want to drain that water out there. Same as on your receivers, you're always going to have a drain on your receivers. Make sure you drain the water off of that. It can be automatic, like this one is with a float. It'll automatically open the valve and allow it out. On most of them, we drained it so you did your rounds every 2 hours. So twice a day, you'd actually go and you drain the receiver. I had some engineers that felt that it was above their calling to drain the receiver every day or twice a day. So we put solenoid valves on it that would automatically do it. They would just automatically open it for a couple seconds and then shut it back down. So it can be done automatically more with it. If you want to, I've seen receivers, they rot right out. When moisture sits here, it's going to rot the heck right out.
You have to go around and test things about it.
Absolutely. You still have to go and be part of PMI to make sure those drains aren't plugged themselves, right? Aftercoolers. Most aftercoolers are water cooled, thin tube type, used for portable type air compressors like the ones we use in private workshops and portable rentals. Most of the aftercoolers is to cool the compressed air after being delivered to the receiver. It's an aftercooler. Cool stuff afterwards. Again, gotta be careful because you can collect moisture. Aftercoolers will always have means of collecting the moisture that is condensed out of the airstream. The water separator located at the outlet of the air cooler usually accomplishes this. The water separator is often fitted directly to the aftercooler. It is constructed with the aftercooler. Usually it's just one. They're one. So there we go. Basically, it looks like it is drain on the bottom. You'll actually see the water come. You're going to open it and drain it, or it'll be a float. It'll do it automatically. All right. Ja of a nee?
Ja.
Ja. What is you speaking Dutch? There's an aftercooler right there that is air cooled. Look familiar to you? Looks like a radiator in the front of a car, an old car or something. Same idea. Compressed air is going through it. We're blowing air across it. Fan moves across the fin. Sand moisture is drained off the bottom. See? Always drain. Please, if I teach you nothing in life, always remember to drain your flipping compressors. Even the ones at home, there'll be a drain on the bottom of it. Make sure you do that. It's going to save you a lot of hassle. All right, let's take a break before we go to objective 4. Or Herbert falls asleep on me. This talks about a typical air plant where you'll have supply air. So you'll have instrumentation and what's called plant air. 2 different ones. So what happens? You may have equipment that you don't need to have dry air as you do for instrument air. So there's no use sending all that air through your dryer if you don't need it to be dry. So typical system is we have this in days. We didn't have two receivers. This one's got two receivers. You're going to have air filter to your compressor to an aftercooler to a wet receiver. We're going to drain it. All receivers have to have a relief valve. The wet air we'll send to a dryer, and then we'll use this as control air. This one here we'll actually use as plant air. You may have an airline that you're using for power tools or whatever the case may be. You may have air that's going to auxiliary out in your workshop, so you've got air nozzle for air hoses because you're pumping up tires under control of your vehicles and you're doing lots of different uses for wet air. So that's a typical system. Goes through a dryer and into the second receiver. A wet dryer, wet and dry receiver. Let's see. Instrumentation air, system components, compressor, that's always good. You want to have compressed air, it's always good to have a compressor. The type of compressor chosen, reciprocating, rotary, centrifugal, depend on the load requirements of the air system, compressor operating costs, and if the air compressor is oil free or not. If the air compressor is to be oil lubricated, then an elaborate and thus expensive filtering system must be used to ensure oil-free air. The air filters designed to remove oil from the air are called, how do you say that, glacillating filters? Yeah, why would they leave the two of us in the room? I mean, English is my second language, come on. It's actually not my first. So here's a system of a rotary screw compressor. Air in, see where the air is coming through the filter. It's going to the low pressure stage. The low pressure stage, it's going to go follow the arrows. It's going to go through an intercooler, number 10. Which is always nice. You're going to go down to number 5, which is a water separator and a drain. And you're going to go into number 4, which is the high pressure stage. And you're going to come from that and go into number 3, which is the aftercooler. Then from the aftercooler, you're going to go to another water separator and air out. See that? And then the other side of that is going to be the loop system. So you can see that the other smaller line that you see there is the lubrication side. So you're going to see the oil sump, the oil filter, the oil cooler, and the oil intercooler. So if you follow the little arrows on the oil system, this would be oil sump in here. So you can see where the oil then comes from here, goes through, follow the little arrows, and goes back to the other stage, back up through, cooled again, back into the sump. See how that works? Say yes?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. You're just saying that to make you happy. Moisture condenses in the aftercooler is moved from the airstream in a centrifugal or cyclone separator. So we're talking about the parts now. The air receiver, there are two types of air receivers that are used in an instrumentation air system. The wet air receiver and the dry air receiver. If both the instrumentation air and the plant air are dried, one air tank is required. So as long as you're drying it all, you can do that. Wet air receiver receives it before the dry air receiver, as you see in the picture, does it afterwards. Both of them are going to have drains in them. All right. Filters, just like the air filter in your car, remove particulates, liquids, and oil vapors from the air. Key to ensuring the instrumentation air functions effectively. Two types of filter used in the air instrumentation air are pre-filters and after filters. Go ahead, Ken, take a guess. What is a pre-filter?
It filters before.
Yeah, there you go. And an after filter?
After.
You're a flipping genius. I don't know why the whole class is picking on you. filters to remove moisture and oil vapor from the air so the dryers do not become overloaded. It also protects the dryers desiccant from becoming contaminated with oil vapor. So that desiccant is just the absorbent of the filter. I'd really like to know how to say that. Coalescing filter contains filter medium, which gathers together tiny moisture droplets from the airstream. So this is like water gathering material. It's little beaded stuff. And these little beads have like holes in them. And the moisture sticks to the little holes. All right, picture a golf ball. Let's use a golf ball. So you know how the golf ball's got those little divots in it? And the water will stick to those little divots, all right? So the airstream enters the top opening of the filter element, moves through the filter medium from the inside to the outside. As the air passes through the moisture droplets become caught in the fibers and begin to cling to each other. Once the moisture droplets have moved through the medium, the larger, heavier droplets drain away from the bottom of the filter caused by gravity. The moisture can be drained from the filter facing manually or by means of a drain trap. So you can do it just like this. So this one can either be manual or you can have a trap on the end of it. Ours were all done by hand. As part of your rounds to go around and do it, mostly because that way I knew you had to get out of the office and go and check the plant. So these would be around different locations after a reducing station, maybe before the dryer, there was one after the dryer, by the receivers, all these had to be done. The after filter is the same kind of particular filter. It is located downstream of the air dryers. Its purpose is to remove any particulates that may be carried with the air stream from the air dryers. All right, an air dryer. Purpose of the air dryer is to
Dry the air.
I'm a flipping genius, man. Sorry. Is to lower the dew point of the air so that there is no water contaminants. Yeah, breathing problems, air systems, cold weather, I usually want to avoid that. There are two main, we just had someone else into the class. 10 minutes late, 12 minutes late. So two types of dryers that we're going to talk about, the refrigerant dryer and a desiccant dryer. The refrigerant dryer uses a separate refrigeration system to cool the air, adjusting the flow of the refrigerant through a heat exchanger controls the cooling. Why does cooling the air help dry it? What do we change?
What we change in the cooling air?
Yeah, what changes?
Temperature changes.
Correct. So what else changes with the temperature change? The dew point. So the dew point drops, so the moisture falls out of suspension, right? So now all of a sudden we got the moisture coming down. That's why we use the refrigerant system. All right? That's as simple as it is. It really might look real complicated stuff, but we cool the air down, refrigerate, so that it drops the dew point so we can get rid of the moisture. Desiccant dryer removes moisture from air by absorbing it with microscopic materials such as silica and the dryer may be heated or heatless. We actually got pictures, so we can explain that. Heatless type of dryer uses air that has been dried to regenerate the bed. The heated bed draws dry shit. Let's go through that. All right. So, just for, have you in chemistry learned how a sodium zeolite softener works?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so remember that. Just remember how that works.
I think when I went on the course, we had to do regeneration.
Perfect. So same idea with this. Picture that theory with instrumentation air. Oh, here we go. Sodium zeolite softener. It's not. This is a dryer. All right. Picture this as a dryer. All right. We got air coming in from our wet compressor. We got pre-filters because we're filtering it before it gets to that. Pre. If we did it afterwards, after filter. Yeah. All right. Pre-filter. We're going through that. We got a three-way valve because we've got two dryers. one that we can be regenerating, one that's actually doing the dryer. When you were on your co-op and you had a sodium zeolite softener, did you have two of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, one so you could actually take out of service and regenerate while the other one goes on. Same idea. So what happens is we're the one that's in service. Here's the one that's in service. We're taking that, we're running this air through this silica. As I explained to Ken earlier, silica, picture a golf ball. They're little small balls,
Yeah,
little pieces, and it water sticks to it.
Like when you buy a shoe, you know, a small pocket.
Perfect. You have a little packet in there to keep them dry. Absolutely. Okay, so that's what we got in here. We're running our air through here. As we run through here, it's absorbing the moisture. We've got a whole bunch of those little packets in our shoes. We put them in a big tank, don't we? We got a whole tank full of these little packets. And they're going through here and it comes out. Air comes out, goes through the after filter, and then goes to our dry air receiver. It's dry. But there's a limit to how much this one can hold. Because once we've had enough moisture go through there, they're all wet. We gotta dry it. So how do we dry this?
Or we dry the silica that's in.
How do we dry the silica that's in it?
Well,
Good question. Remember heated and unheated?
I'm telling you.
Remember they talked about a heated one and an unheated one. So this is like a sodium zeolite softener. When a sodium zeolite softener got when it absorbed all the calcium and magnesium, how did we clean it?
Well, we backwash it.
We backwashed it. We actually reversed the flow.
Yeah.
So now we're going to reverse the flow on our one that's regenerating. The same as we did with sodium zeolite softener. So we're going to reverse this and we're going to send it out to atmosphere. So we're taking the dry air and we're going to blow the dry air back over top of our silica. We're going to push all the moisture out and drain all the moisture out until it's nice and dry again, and then we're good to go.
When it's next,
That's a really good question. You're probably going to have a moisture test on it. So it'll actually be a bulb, a moisture sensor bulb that'll tell you.
Because you have to dry that place.
Yeah. Were they this type or were they actually refrigeration ones? Refrigeration ones.
This type.
This type? Okay.
They replace the silica.
They'll replace it after a time? Yeah. Same idea as your sodium zeolite softener. You're going to replace the zeolite after a time. There is a life expectancy for it. So we're going to dry that. Now, so as we dry that, you notice we didn't heat the air up or anything? So what do you think the difference would be between a heated one and a non-heated one? Non-heated or a heated one, we would take the same process, only we would blow warm air through it. So we would actually dry the moisture as well as drain it off. Now you can read all that stuff, but that's basically what it tells you. So as long as you can picture how a sodium zeolite softener works, an air dryer that has an absorbent in it works very, very similar. So that's why we have to regenerate them. Because it can only, if I dropped your case in water, it would only absorb so much water. How would I get it to absorb more water? I would dry it, throw it in a dryer, dry it, get all that other moisture out of it, then I'd be able to absorb more. Same thing. All right, don't let it be complicated. Don't let it be complicated. It's not as complicated as you might think. All right, that's an absorbent drying system. So a refrigerating drying system, how does it dry it? Refrigerant, how does it dry it? Cools it down through a refrigeration drying dryer, cools our air down, and when we cool the air down, change the temperature and therefore change the dew point, so the moisture falls out of it. An absorbent one, how do we do that? We run it through an absorbent that absorbs the moisture until it can't absorb it anymore, and then we regenerate it, dry it out again so we can use it again. Got it? Nice and simple. This one here, see this one here? This is a heater, so we can actually regenerate it with a heater, blow it in. Some of them, they just use the dry air and use the same dry air. So that's the difference between the heated one and the non-heated one. Got it, you can read through that, that basically says what we just talked about, all right? There's the one that is a, air dryer system when it doesn't have, it uses compressed air to do it, so doesn't have the extra blower, right? Exactly. Alrighty, very good. I want a class of two again. This class of two makes it a lot easier. You just kind of carry on a conversation, I like that the best. A desiccant dryer normally consists of two chambers. The tank's filled with the desiccant with one figure 18. The chair, which is actually performs the drying function, the standard desiccant uses silica gel or activated aluminite. The lower dew point, -6 and above, and lower, sorry, minus 6 degrees Celsius. Wow. That's like cold. That's like way colder than Jamaica. This takes the form of a sphere or small balls that are 2 to 5 millimeters in diameter. Balls contain thousands of microscopic pores, which in the size range of water droplets. Basically golf balls, like I said, with those divots. And they absorb the water like those little pockets.
So, -6 would be a low dew point.
That would be low.
As I'm tracking back to the quarters, they were running at -40.
40?
If it goes like -20.
At -20 is when you regenerate it?
No. I'm just trying to remember the alarms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, -20.
So -20 would be high.
Yes. So yeah, that's how they work. I don't know what else to tell you about that. This one here's got electric dryers on it, so you can see the blower, so you can actually blow through the dryer. I don't know. Do you understand how they work? Do I have to tell you more? No? Or did he give you like my Visa card number or anything like that? I'll get one regenerated. Okay, dew point monitor. Dew point is defined as the temperature at which water vapor in the air will begin to condense. Dew point, form dew. At specific pressure, changes with pressure and temperature. Remember, if the air temperature drops below the dew point temperature, at any time liquid can form. In a compressed air application, you will hear referred to as atmospheric dew point or pressure dew point. Alright? Pressure dew point is the air temperature with moisture will condense at a system pressure. Condenses, different pressure, different temperature. Pressure dew point of air is something that the operator must check on a regular basis. If the dew point begins to rise, -60 to -40, so if it begins to rise, the operator must take immediate action to rectify the situation before the moisture accumulates in the instrumentation air from 60 to -40. So if it starts to raise, you got to figure this, hey, we better change this, we better regenerate this off, or rip this off, the dryer will, There are several ways the operator can check the dew point. One is the easiest way is to monitor the readout on the front of the dew point analyzer. So you'll actually have an analyzer that will do this for you. The dew point analyzer receives an electronic signal from the moisture sensing probe, like the one shown in figure 20, that is situated in the airline downstream of the air dryer. We want to find out downstream because we want to make sure the air is drying downstream of the dryer. The analyzer measures signals and converts it to a numeric value, which indicates the pressure dew point of the compressed air. If there were an after filter downstream of the air dryer, the sensing probe would be placed downstream of the after filter. Does that make sense? So it's going to go after the dryer. If your dryer has an after filter, it's going to go after the dryer and the after filter. Alright, you don't want to filter it out. And there's what it is right there. Moisture sensing probe, it sends the moisture in the air, relative humidity, and it'll actually send a signal to that instrumentation, and this will give you a numeric readout. You'll be able to set this numeric readout to whatever you want it to read out, moisture content, and if it's supposed to be 60 and it changes depending on what you've got, and then you've got to say, hey, I gotta change the drive over, I gotta switch it over to number 2 and regenerate number 1. Yeah. Picture your zeolite softener. How do you know when your zeolite softener is hard? When do you know how do you know we gotta do a regeneration?
When it gets the water,
Check the hardness of the water, you know you gotta regenerate the softener. Check the moisture in your control air, and it tells you whether you need to regenerate your dryer. Got it? C'est bon. That's French, I think. Calfood. If you're Dutch. Many air dryer systems have small gas balls filled with a desiccant. This is cool. It has a slipstream to outlet air. The dryer flows through it. When the air is dry, the desiccant is blue. If the air is wet, it will change color. That's exactly what we had in Vegas. Right up there. Right by the chemical room. Why by the chemical room? Because we check the water 3 times a day. So 3 times a day, you'd have to walk right by this puppy, and you have to look at it to see whether the air was dry or not. All right? It was nice and simple. If it was red, it was a good day. Changed blue, not as good a day as it could be. All right?
you check the boiler water 3 times a day.
3 times. 3 times a day, every shift. Every shift. All right? Air receivers. This is important. This is important. Did I mention this is important? Okay, just in case you wonder. Air receiver is a pressure vessel. Remember that. So it's a pressure vessel. It's controlled by ASME, right? Pressure vessel, which is used as a reservoir in a compressed air system. In addition to acting as a reservoir, acts as a reservoir, but in addition to that, it acts to dampen pulsations in the discharge pressure of a reciprocating compressor. See how that works? So this pressure gauge will tell me that I have a consistent pressure, whether it's 60 psi, whatever it is. It's not going to be a pulsation like a reciprocating compressor. Remember, a reciprocating compressor, air, no air, air, no air. So coming out of there, we don't want that. We want it constant. So that's what this does as well. All right. Another function of the receiver is to allow dust, moisture, and oil droplets to settle from the air. If they're going to settle, where are they going to settle? The bottom. How are we going to get rid of it? We're going to drain it periodically. I tell you every day, man. Every day in a power plant. Twice, we did every shift. At least every shift. I would be happy with every shift.
You know where auto drain?
Sorry?
You have auto drain.
I put auto drain in them, yes, but we originally didn't. We originally just had a ball valve, and you just go down there and so the moisture was gone, close it back up. And then you did it the first thing in the shift. You went into the shift, you either changed the shift, talked to the boys, how's it going, and you did the rounds. And it was always, hey, John, you've got the con, I'm doing the rounds. And it would take me a good hour to do the rounds of the plant, to check it all out, make sure the receivers were going down. Probably wasn't my job, it was probably his job, but I wanted to know. Air receivers may be either horizontal or vertically, and used in involved in construction. Their specifications must. You know what they mean when they say must? They actually mean must. Not like it's a suggestion, not like, hey, you may want to. Must. They got a must, right? Must conform to ASME Code Section 8, pressure vessels. They must, again that word, be fitted with the safety valve, pressure gauge, drain valve, opening for inspection, cleaning, and a regulator connection. They must. Not like, hey, these are the things that we want to have, these things must. So if I ask you a question, what must it have? You need to know what must be there. Not nice to have. You know, it's like, I must have a tractor to be a farmer. It's nice that I have a John Deere, but I could get away with something else. You know? Size of receiver is imperative, right? Because what did we talk about earlier? We had too small of a receiver, the compressor was going to come on and off more. So the size of the receiver merits attention. If too small, the pressure in the receiver will fluctuate more rapidly, causing the air compressor to cycle more often, resulting in increased power consumption. You want to keep a job being valuable to your employer. The air receiver should be placed as near the compressor as possible. A shutoff valve should never, note, I mean, when they say never, alright, good. A shutoff valve should never be placed in this line unless a safety valve is installed between the valve and the compressor. You always need to protect that compressor, right? Alright. By following this guideline, the discharge line cannot be overpressurized by running the compressor with the shutoff valve closed. A similar safe code must be provided in the case where the compressor discharges a connection to a large air main, also served by other compressors. Safety valve must be fitted between the compressor and the first shutoff valve in the main. So if we've got a main header, we've got 3 or 4 compressors tied into it, you must have a safety valve between that compressor and the main shutoff valve. Has to be. Must. All safety valves should be serviced on a regular basis to ensure that they will open and reset the correct pressure. Same as with the boiler, you're going to do a test on it, you're going to do pop test, and you're going to do a tri-lever test. Right? So we've got a safety valve on the tank. Going into a common header, we got a safety valve in the header. We got a shutoff valve. Is that one legal? This was supposed to be, doesn't show me the compressor, so it doesn't, oh shoot. Doesn't show me. Never mind. Disregard that question. The daft one. I hate when I come up with daft questions. To minimize the possibility of corrosion, the receiver should be checked for moisture on a regular basis. If moisture is collecting in the receiver, then an upstream moisture separator should be check to ensure that it is draining properly. If dry receiver has a lot of moisture in it, then the operation of the air dryer should be checked. If your air dryer has moisture in it, you've got some doo-doo, something's wrong. Your air dryer is broken, or your bypass is open, or something's wrong because your dry receiver should have dry air in it, right? The air receiver should also be inspected on a regular basis and hydrostatically tested as required by local pressure vessels authorities. There's actually a code out there that'll tell you the pressure vessels and when these to be checked. All right. You notice I highlighted that entire thing. I really don't want to read through this for you. You guys want to just read that on your own. It's a startup procedure. You're going to check to be sure that no one is working on the compressor. Tag-out lock. You got to make sure that. Remember that stored energy is in the compressor and receivers. You got to be careful of that. Check to ensure that all blinds have been removed from the condenser or from the compressor inlet and outlet. So if somebody was working on it, they got blinds in it, they broke a flag, they put a blind in it or a blank, make sure that they're removed. Turn the cooling water on. Very important. Turn the cooling water on to the compressor cylinders. All right? That's the first thing you want to do. All right? Open the suction and discharge valves. Listen for leaks on flanges. This is if you've had to remove any done any repair work. Be sure that the compressor is in the unloaded position. You don't want to start up a compressor under load. You want to make sure it's unloaded. If you start it up under load, you could do some damage to the motor. Close the breaker for the compressor motor. Before closing the motor breaker, be sure the local stop-start switch is on. All right. So before you put power to it, make sure that the local stop-start button has been pulled out. Check the crankcase gear oil level. Be sure that the crankcase gear oil level are at the required levels, so that the compressor will have adequate lubrication and service. If you do not have a stop-start switch, you're going to make sure the power is off when you do this. All right? Do not do that. Well, if you don't know, they can automatically stop and start depending on load requirements, right? You want to make sure that there's no power to that when you're checking. Last thing you want to do is pull out a dipstick and check the negative. Anyway, that'd be funny. If you're going to do that, let me videotape it. Ensure the cylinder lubricant is full so that the compressor cylinders would get the proper lubricant. Start the compressor. Slowly load up the compressor. Keyword being slowly. Just like starting with water. Bring her up slow. As the compressor is loaded up, check the suction and discharge pressures as well as the lube oil pressure. If any of the pressures are abnormally low or high, shut down the compressor and have the problem certified or rectified before restarting. Check it all out. Check around the compressor for leaks and listen. I tell you, you can pick it up with your ears really quick. So be careful for that. Ensure the cylinder lubrication is working. If the lubricator is not working, the result will be excessive wear of the cylinder walls and pistons. So if it's just a normal splash type, you're not going to be able to verify that too much. You can check the level of the sump. But if it's a pressure system, you'll be able to check that based on the pressure. All right. Startup procedure for a dynamic compressor. Check this. You should read through that to get all the details of the compressor. Check to be sure that no one is working on the compressor again. It's a good idea. Ensure that the compressor lube oil system is ready for service. Be sure the lube oil reservoir is adequate level in it. Be sure the surge valves are wide open. Because we're starting this thing up. So we're starting this thing up. It's not going to have enough speed as it comes up there. You're going to create a surge in it because the end stage pressures are going to be higher than the first stage pressure. So you're going to want to make sure the valves are open, okay? Be sure the surge valves are wide open and the suction flow control various inlet vanes are in the closed position. So close this one. We'll be back here and open this one so that we can do that without a surge. Be sure that the manual block valves and the suction discharge lines are open. That'd be really important. I'm only laughing because I don't know who's watching this or not, but somebody had put in a pump in our boiler room, and I guess I forgot to tell them to check for the plug, because they noticed one but not the other one, so they actually had to open it, pull it back out. That was pretty cool. It's very important so the system will not shut down due to low suction pressure or high discharge. You got manual blocks in there, it's going to shut down. Hopefully. Close the motor breaker. That's like put power to it. Start the lube oil system. Check the system for leaks. Any noises? Again, use your ears, use your eyes, use your nose. Yes, you can smell burnt oil. So if you got an oil leak and it's hitting something hot, you'll be able to pick it up. It bothers my eyelids real bad. Start the compressor and operate it unloaded while checking for abnormal conditions such as oil leaks. Slowly load up the compressor to ensure the compressor microprocessor brings the compressor online properly. Check around the compressor for leaks. Listen. If you observe any leaks or hear any unusual noises, check the cause and shut the puppy down. Doesn't say shut the puppy down, that's mine. And my favorite part. Would an operator start a positive displacement compressor with the discharge valve closed? Explain why. Positive displacement compressor with the discharge valve closed. Keyword is positive displacement compressor. Take it. Only place I think actually might have been the startup. It's like the startup thing, but I didn't remember. I don't have to go through this. It's the principle right here, right? Right. Look at that. Open the suction and discharge valve. Open the suction and discharge valve. Why would you want to have the discharge valve open and not closed? What would you do if you closed it?
It will take a setting back pressure.
If the reciprocating compressor, for instance, I'm going to try to compress that. I've got it closed. I'm going to overpressurize the compressor. I'm going to lift the safety valve because if we have a valve there, it has to have a safety valve between the valve and the compressor, right? So yeah, you never want to do that under load. No way it can happen. You never want to do it. What is the next question? Question number 2. State 3 purposes of a receiver in a compressed air system. 3 things. We just went over that. 1.
Remove oil
Remove oil or
moisture.
moisture,
and also factors of pulsation.
stop.
Room of pulsation.
What exactly? And third one, I'm not going to give you renewable oil and moisture too. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. There's one more that I'm looking for. Gives you a volume of air too, right? Gives you that volume of air. So then your compressor can actually not run 24/7 all the time.
Factor of storage.
Storage. Absolutely. What are the three methods used to control the load on a positive displacement air compressor? We can describe each one. We went through them. You go back through them. You're on back to the I want to pick on you getting all the answers. But we're gonna, we're gonna unload. Okay. Intake valve. We're gonna close the intake line, and we're going to.
Speed.
We're gonna. Three methods used to control the load of a positive displacement compressor. Speed won't do that. Remember, it's positive displacement. So check out when I explain why some air systems have a wet air receiver and a dry air receiver. Why would we have two? I don't know if you were here, Herbert. Ken, sorry to put you on the spot, man. Why did we have two air receivers? One with dry air and one with wet. What did we use dry air for? Instrumentation and control. Control air has to be dry. Is there any place in our power plant where we don't need dry air? If I have a shop that have an air hose that I want to use to blow off clean off an instrumentation control device, I don't necessarily need to have that dry, do I? If I'm running a pneumatic tool, it doesn't necessarily have to be dry. So so you'd have two, a wet and a dry receiver because you have different air sources. Right? And it costs me money to dry all that air. So I don't need it dry. I don't want to dry it. I'm cheap, remember? Remember that. Describe surging. Herbert, you've got surging down to an art. What is surging?
Surging, the reversal of flow.
I don't need any more. I know. Using a single, I'm not going to make you try this. These guys. Use a single line sketch to describe the automatic condensate drain or trap that is attached to the compressor after cooler. I'll make you do that. Define dew point, pressure dew point, and atmospheric dew point in relation to the compressed air system. The dew point we can describe, right? Dew point is the point where moisture is going to start falling out of the air. Okay, so let's atmospheric dew point. What do you think that is?
Dew point of that atmospheric pressure.
Sure. It's going to be different on Mount Everest than it is here in sunny Owen Sound with the snow flying. And pressure dew point is the dew point of the air in that particular pressurized system. Got it? That's amazing. You can tell people I know that. Name the major components found in an absorption type instrumentation air drying system. You guys did pretty good on that. Always remember this absorption type instrumentation air drying. Just remember to try to, like I said, rationalize it as a liquid water softener, and you can just picture in your mind how that works, and you should be able to do it from that. All right. Anybody have any questions? You guys got all that? Because there will be questions on the bottom now. All right. Any of you people that are watching this video, if you have confirmed it, email it to me. Because I need everybody's confirmation. So I'm going to release that as soon as everybody confirms. Still waiting for confirmation. I'll send out a Blackboard message. I'm going to release it next Wednesday at 1200 hours. I will give you 3 days. It will be open for 3 days and 3 days only. And when you start it, you will have 2 hours to complete it. So it doesn't matter anywhere in those 3 days you can open it. Just don't wait till the last minute because you need 2 hours to complete it. And it'll close at noon on Saturday, and you'll be, oh my God, I got to get 2 hours, and then I'm like, you can't do that. Anyway, so it'll automatically close whether get done or not. So make sure you've got a good internet connection, make sure you've got 2 hours, make sure you're good to go, and it'll be multiple choice, just like an online
I'll try
assignment.
to read that. Within
This time slot next week, it'll definitely be open, so, all right, any questions, email me, shoot me a line, don't forget the online for today's will be on as of now. All right, have a good day, stay dry, stay warm.